Okay, so we're talking about reading, and we're talking about the relevancy of reading help to promote or to teach what? Social responsibility,
Hmm.
civic engagement, inquiry-based learning, problem solving, things of that nature, trying to
Right.
work around the core, the common core, right?
Hmm.
All right, so you brought us some books, and so I'm really happy. And so one of this is like, we've got the Adoration of Jenna Fox. What's that book about?
That's a science fiction novel.
Hmm.
That's a young adult science fiction novel about, takes place in the future, and a girl was in an accident, and then she wakes up a year later after she was in a coma,
Hmm.
and life doesn't seem right. Her body doesn't seem right, and the book, thematically, the book is perfect for having students explore issues of bioethics.
Oh, okay.
And we actually, a seventh grade teacher and I, we taught that book together to seventh graders. They love that book, and we use it to explore issues of bioethics and technology and media in their lives.
Got it. Okay. Chris Crutcher, Deadline. What's this about?
Chris Crutcher is one of the most well-respected young adult authors. That's most of his books. He's also an adolescent psychologist, so he really engages in really relevant issues to adolescents. That's about an 18-year-old high school student who finds out that he has a year to live. He's terminally ill. And because he's legally an adult, he tells his doctor not to tell anyone, because he wants to live the last year of his life on his own terms. So for example, he takes on a project. He has to do this civics project in class. And he decides, he lives in a very white town of Utah, and he decides he's going to convince the town to name a street after Malcolm X. And his civics teacher orders him to change the topic, and he refuses. And he becomes bolder in this last year, in this year.
And so what kind of takeaways do we take away with this book? What are the takeaways?
Well, you know, the funny thing is, a book like that, and whereas a lot of people might think the book is really kind of about death, actually it's about life. I mean, how should I live my life?
Okay. Black and White, Paul, what is that?
Volpani.
Paul Volpani. What's this about?
That's about two high school students. One is white, one is African American. They're best friends, and they're basketball stars, and they're so good on their team. They've already gotten college scholarships. And they start committing some holdups in parking lots to get some money.
No way. Are you serious?
Yeah, and they during one of the holdups, the man they're robbing, a local bus driver, is shot in the shoulder, and he identifies Marcus, the African American boy, but Eddie, the other boy who's white, isn't identified. So Marcus gets arrested.
Oh.
So the whole question is, what are our responsibilities to our friends? What are our responsibilities to society? Should Marcus turn Eddie in? Should Eddie voluntarily turn himself in? It's a fantastic book. I've taught that twice to seventh graders. They just rave about that book.
And one last one, and then I want to talk about banned books. Before We Were Free, Julia Alvarez.
Yeah, Julia Alvarez wrote the great adult book, In the Time of Butterflies. That's about the Trujillo dictatorship in the Dominican Republic in the 1960s. And it's about a family and a young girl. Her father is involved in kind of overthrowing Trujillo and trying to bring down his dictatorship. And Alvarez is from the Dominican Republic. And it's a wonderful, beautiful book. At one point, they have to, the girl and her mother have to hide in a closet for 2 months. Because they know if they're found, because their father is being exposed for being part of the overthrow. It's fantastic.
And what's the takeaway for the students with that?
Well,
because it sounds like several lessons.
Well, one certainly is global awareness.
Okay.
You know, global awareness. Another is political systems, different political systems. Another is empathy. I mean, global empathy. You know, empathizing with people on the other side of the world, empathizing with people who don't live in democratic countries. Getting a better understanding of other cultures.
Now, let me ask you this, closing out. So what's your position on censorship?
It's bad. I mean, Banned Books Week is actually September 22nd. It's
Yes,
the
it
perfect
is.
week to read a banned book.
It is.
In fact, you know, one of my classes at Northeastern, we're doing a whole project on banned books. As a class, we're reading many books.
And some of the books that are on your list, they actually are on the banned book list, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And
so what do you tell, do you teach your teachers, how do you instruct teachers to address parents when they say, I don't want my kid reading that book?
Yeah, you know.
And then we'll wrap it up. Go ahead.
Right. I think that, you have to differentiate between a student reading an independent reading book. An independent reading book is just, that should really be the core of any reading curriculum in school, where kids always are choosing a book to read on their own.
Okay, we got to wrap up. Go ahead.
And so we have to differentiate between a book independent reading and a book you're teaching,
Okay.
right? And so if it's an independent reading book, and if a parent doesn't want their child to read that book, then I think as a teacher you need to honor that. That's the parent's job. And the teacher should say, no problem, I'll find another book. Right?
Outstanding. Okay. Well, thank you once again, and I really wish you all the best on the work. I think it's a really great project.
Well, thank you very much. I
All right, good
appreciate it.
deal.
Thank you for having me.
Good deal. Thank you.